Hi, Danville. Alan Chills here, Chief of Police, and we are 10-8 and in service, which means we are here to make people's lives better by safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of everyone we serve. I do have some announcements, but this is a good week. This is a week of low accidents, low crime, good interaction and engagement with all of you, and so we had a good week. And what I'd encourage you to do is this is a live show, so if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and if it's something I can get to during the show, I'll be happy to answer those then. If you're looking for more engagement, though, if you're looking for ways you can improve the town and the services that we provide here as the police department and members of the town government, we've got a great opportunity with our Citizens Academy. Sign up. Our fall season should be starting in a month and a half, and there is a link in the description below, and that will lead you right to our website where you can fill out the application and send that one in. If you want to find another way that you can help us improve, we've got our local roadway safety plan, another link in the description. And this is an opportunity for you to go drop a pin, put a box, and say where you feel that there are traffic related issues that you'd like to see us pay attention to and address. As always, I do want to have these two reminders. If you can do these two things, download the FEMA All Hazards Guide. That is a checklist style guide that helps you to be prepared prior to an event that happens, give you some tips to help while a hazard is taking place, and then what you can do after those events take place. And it's really good. I know we put up power outage on this one, but there's, should we have an avalanche? There's one of those in there, but there's cyber information on there. There's active shooter, all kinds of information on there that you can have. And just chuck it in your drawer there, and you'll have that. Next, we want to talk about the community warning system. Make sure that you go to the link in the description and check out our community warning system. You have to opt in to receive notifications. This is similar to Nixle. Make sure you opt in, and that way you'll receive notifications. So if we have like a big wildland fire or something like that, you will be prepared. And then also we have a wildfire preparedness and evacuation guide. It's a really good guide. It's got a lot of good information in there. We did a series back in April, kind of breaking down the different parts of it, but it's a good way for you to be prepared and, frankly, to mitigate these hazards before they become a big issue. We've talked about it before. When we've gone into areas where, and I'm not a fire science person, but when we've gone into areas and where we've seen success is where they've had mitigation strategies already in place. In other words, where they've cleared out the dead wood and the debris and all of those things, and they have a well-maintained yard. We've seen them like little oasis for a home in these burn zones. And so really do your part in helping our community stay safe on that. We do have a special event coming up. This is unique and for police only. We do it once a year, and it's going to be our police training. It's going to be Thursday, August 4th, 2022. We're going to be at the Ramon Valley Christian Academy on West El Pintado, and that's right near Diablo Road. So it's pretty close to downtown, but we'll be tucked back in there. But don't be surprised, because you will see a lot of police cars and fire engines and the like, and we'll be out there. And what we're doing is we're doing our annual active threat or active incident training. And that's about what we can do to really solve two problems. And the first one is to stop whatever is creating the hazard. And then the other is to perform life-saving and safety measures from there. So that's a big thing for us. And just want to let everybody know. So when you see a bunch of cop cars and firefighters, that is what we're doing down there. All right. I'm going to check the chat real quick, make sure we've got a bunch of hellos. So Joanne says, hello, saw another accident in Diablo and West El Pintado. Could it be from the lights changing? No longer get left arrow from Diablo to West El Pintado. At first, sometimes light turns red for all, then green arrow. Very confusing. All right. So Joanne, what I'm going to do is on my way home, I'll actually check that out, and then I'll see what I can see, but I'm going to take your note, I'll copy it, and I'll send it over to Andy Dillard. He's our transportation manager, and he's the one that actually does the signal timing and lights. So what I'll do is I'll pass your observations, and then I'll let him know what I see as well. So I'll connect that. As far as the actual accident, I don't know what the cause is. Our officers go out and they do investigate them. Once they write their report, I'll review them and I'll see what the cause is. All right. And then Gary says, when can we anticipate the traffic enforcement collaboration? 3 departments event you mentioned last week. That's going to happen all through the rest of the summer and the fall. So you'll see it several times. So it's not going to be a one event this Thursday. It's going to be quite a bit. So, all right. So let's move on to the crime. But as always, you can check for yourself. You can go to communitycrimemap.com and you can see what crime is taking place in your area. You can actually see the traffic stops that we make and those sort of things in there as well. And you can punch up the sex registry, sexual registrants on there as well. And so it's a good source of information. Just a reminder, it has changed a little bit. If you have trouble navigating through the site, in other words, setting the filters and that thing, you can always contact us and we can help you out with that. Notice that the color of the symbols have changed, and that'll affect what you see in our weekly reports on this show. All right. Try to find the crime on that map because it's not there. We had 2 total thefts. I don't think we've had a week as excellent as this. And I realize that if you're one of the 2 people that had something stolen from you, that's not great. But 2 thefts is an awesome week. No violent crimes, no burglaries, no vehicle thefts. On July 27th, we had a theft of an iPad from a business on the 600 block of Harts Avenue. And then on the 29th, we had a theft of a license plate from a vehicle on Canfield Drive. And remind you, these are where they're reported. So that license plate, it may very well have been taken from the driveway of the home or from out front, but it also may have been when they were out shopping somewhere or anywhere. Our thought is we just take that report and make sure that we get the license plate entered as stolen so that our other officers out there can know that that is a stolen license plate. All right, traffic accidents. Last week, I think we were upside down. We had more accidents than we had crime. And this week we're even, and I think this is a good even. They're both low, and that's great. So if you look, we had a property collision down on the 200 block of Harts Avenue on the 26th. Then on the 25th, we had a hit and run in the Marshall's parking lot. Those reports haven't come in yet. It usually takes 7 or 10 days for me to get those and then review those reports. All right, I'll see if there's anything else in the chat. All right. I want to share some pictures with all of you. Last night was awesome. This is one of my favorite times of the year. A lot of people think that it might be the 4th of July parade or, these large events and the car shows. And as much as I like those events, frankly, for me, probably a little bit of anxiety, right? Because it's my job to keep those events safe. So there's a lot of planning, a lot of personnel, and a lot of things going on behind the scenes of those. And so I do have to give you a little bit of an admission here. When those big, large events like the 4th of July are over, there's a little bit of a relief for me. And I think that's why I like last night so well. Last night was National Night Out. And I think Danville does better than most. But we have a very consistent and large number of groups that come out for National Night Out. National Night Out is just a way to get community members to connect with one another. And I was very happy. And I was actually with the mayor. I was with Mayor Newell Arnridge last night. And we got to go to 3 of the neighborhoods, and we had 5 teams out there, 5 teams of police officers, volunteers, of elected officials. It was great. And I know our firemen went out there from San Ramon Valley Fire. They went out to several locations, and we had CHP was out there, and they actually had their mascot out there. Really, really cool. Very good event. But the reality is, I know we come out and we fly our drone or we do those sort of things, but it really is about all of you and staying connected. And it was really great to see brand new people into the community. In fact, they're not here, but we were at one, and there were a husband and wife couple that had just moved in like 6 weeks. And so they were there. And at this particular one, they had jumpy houses and all that. But it's a good event. So let's look at some of these pictures. You can see we're just out and about. Just a beautiful night for it. It wasn't super hot like it is today. But just a good time with kids and adults and just a lot of food and a lot of good people coming together. It was really, really, it was great. I mean, there were residents that have lived in town for 30, 40 years. And like I said, 6 weeks. We saw quite a few that had moved here in the last 2 or 3 years. So that was great. It's an opportunity for us to engage. It's an opportunity for us to share how to stay connected with us. But it really is, above all else, a way for all of you to know your neighbors and stay connected with one another. And here's what we said at the meetings that we went to last night is if you have an event, and it could be an HOA meeting, it could be a meeting of business, of the business community. It could be anything. If you've got a special meeting or anything like that, and we've done this for a court with 6 homes on it. If you invite us out, we'd be happy to come out and let you know what it is that we're doing to keep the community safe, give you an update, answer any questions you have, anything. And I'll admit, if you throw a little bit of food on the table, you're likely to get maybe more than one cop to show up to that one. But so our rule is we don't invite ourselves into your living room, but if you invite us, then we will make every effort to come and be there. All right. So we've got a couple more on the chat here. Gary says, thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. Gary, it was great seeing you. I was glad you were out there. You had mentioned the aloha comment from 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I was glad you were back in town, so that was good. Okay, so Monica asks, just tuning in, by the way, do you know anything about the armed robbery Walnut Creek Saturday night at Bounty Hunter Restaurant? So Monica, as a general rule, I am not allowed to comment on investigations occurring in other jurisdictions. It's not appropriate. And frankly, I am the wrong person to do that because I might give an incomplete picture or wrong information, or worse, if I did know information from confidential sources, I may put it out and harm their ability to do the investigation. So as a general rule, we just redirect back to what we call the venue agency if you want information on that. But here's what I'll say. We have been going over how to stay safe, and we've talked about run, hide, fight, and Danville didn't alter the acronym. Run, hide, fight is a nationally recognized program, and there is Alert, which is a group that does active threat conferences and training. They actually altered it a little bit to avoid, deny, defend. And just to go briefly, because you mentioned an armed robbery, is what the advice that we give is right along the lines of avoid, deny, defend, which is, know your surroundings, plan ahead of time. If you're going to go out somewhere, just have an idea of where you're at so that should any hazard, whether it's a man-made hazard such as an armed robbery or a natural disaster like an earthquake, a downpour, hailstorm, whatever it may be, that you know how you're going to get where you need to go. Second is, as you're going home, really pay attention to your surroundings, and then do what you can at all costs to avoid some sort of negative interaction, right? And then if you get put into a situation where you're not able to avoid it, try to deny that attack. So if you're in a room, if there's a way to kind of button up that room and lock the doors and barricade the doors and do those sort of things, that's along that hide of the run, hide, and fight. And then as a last resort, then we would say take those measures to defend yourself appropriately. But Monica, I'm sorry, it's not something I can comment on when it comes to someone else's case. All right, let's move on to our final thought. So our final thought centers on vehicle safety, but really it's not a call to action like we usually do. It's not an ask. I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm actually going to give you kudos, because if you look this week, we only had 2 crimes, 2. And that's absolutely incredible. 2 thefts. And what that tells me, when we have 2 thefts and nothing else, that tells me that you're already doing what I'm about to show you. And that is, let's make sure that we keep things out of sight. And here's a couple of examples. The upper left is a picture from a window smash burglary. The lower left is an example. That was actually a made-up photo of a purse just laying on the seat. That is not how we want to leave our stuff. And if you look at the upper right-hand picture, that is a picture from a search warrant I did several years back where I went to an apartment in a neighboring city, and they had over 150 purses, 80 wallets, and they had unique pieces of credit and ID from like 400 to 500 people. And this was all from the work of one person. And so what we like to do and what we like to say is, there we go, lock it or lose it, right? Remove your valuables. You might see these signs up in some of our business areas and some of our shopping centers. And I think that's effective, right? These are some of the hardest crimes to solve after they happen. And we know that if we can put most of our or all of our effort into prevention, then we will be much better off. And this is, again, really not even a call to action. This is a kudos for all of you because you do an absolutely fantastic job with that. Okay, so Gary has a good suggestion. He says with the vehicles that he leaves outside, he uses anti-theft license plate screws available on Amazon for about $8. And anti-theft screws usually either use a unique head that requires a unique bit to put them on, or it's a one-way screw where the threads will only allow you to turn that screwdriver one way, and it almost looks like a ramp going the other way. It just backs it right out. So, Gary, that's a very good suggestion. All right, so I don't see anything else in the chat, but I'd like to thank everyone for joining tonight. And I want to remind you that we've got police training coming up August 4th. That's tomorrow at San Ramon Valley Christian Academy. That's at West El Pintado near Diablo Road. So you're going to see a lot of cop cars, a lot of firemen, and we're going to be doing our annual training there. We would also recommend that you download the FEMA All Hazards Checklist. This is your way of being prepared for any type of a hazard. Go to our sheriff's website and log in and register for our community warning system. This will allow you to receive critical alerts in case of an emergency. And we also have a wildfire preparedness and evacuation guide there where you can be prepared in case of a wildfire. And most of that's going to be on the mitigation side. We also have an opportunity for you to help us, local roadway safety plan. This is where you can click, you can drop a pin, and you can tell us where we need to make engineering improvements to our roadways. And then finally, if you want to join us, learn about what it is that we do, and provide feedback, come join us at our Citizens Academy. The fall session's opening soon in about a month and a half. Go ahead and go to the link in the description and fill out the application, send it our way. And this is really a good way. We open our doors, you see everything that we do, and you can provide us the feedback and tell us what we can do better to serve all of you. That's all for tonight. We're 10-10, which means we're off duty, but we're always 10-8 and in service to all of you. Have a good night, Danville.